Thank you, Alejandro. Hello, everyone. As Alejandro said, I want to thank you, everyone, for joining this early morning session on Tuesday morning. My name is Neha Pandey. I'm a solution architect at Databricks. I've been working in Databricks for 2.5 years now. And today I am joining with.
Hi, my name is Kamesh Raghavendra. I'm the Chief Product Officer of Pergo AI, a Databricks partner. And we are eager to present a joint solution we have developed together, and really appreciate all of you joining us early this morning. You can hop over on the stage.
Okay. So before we dive deeper, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to scientists, healthcare workers, engineers, and everyone who has behind the scene working day in, day out tirelessly to develop and deliver vaccines in time in one of the toughest time in the recent history. If we look back at our history, we as a human race have come across many public health crises, but COVID-19 was a wake-up call at a global scale. It impacted in every aspect of our life, the way we interact, the way we develop clinical trials, the way we run clinical trials. And now, after years of disruption and causing the whole life to be slowed down, we are finally seeing the life return to a sense of normalcy. But with that, it also forces us to think that how we should think about speed, innovation, and responsibility in healthcare.
The same COVID years marked a quantum leap in artificial intelligence technologies with the advent of generative AI. It opened up a whole new horizon of feasible AI applications in the enterprise. We at Pergo AI, we developed a generative AI technology that is capable of interpreting very high-level business requirements that we all have in a given enterprise, and use that reasoning power to generate data products, entire production-ready data products that can be deployed on Databricks. And in this session, we are showcasing a joint solution between Pergo AI and Databricks focused on the health and life sciences vertical that significantly accelerates clinical development, innovation, and productivity. And we are very excited to showcase this solution with you and begin partnering with you in this vertical.
Okay, so when we talk about COVID, or especially the pandemic era, there's one key takeaway that we have taken from this is innovation must be faster, but it should not be reckless. Meaning we have all seen that how rapid innovation and acceleration in science and technology can save life, but we also know that one misstep can cause a ripple effect in the entire ecosystem, especially when we are talking about regulated industry like healthcare and life sciences, right? So we have to make sure that everything we do is in the boundary of the compliance. So when we think about innovation, we all want to do real-time omics to accelerate our drug discovery. We all want to build faster patient cohort with real-world integration. AI ML can help in disease modeling and patient prediction, especially when we are working with scalable cloud-native platform. But we also know that usually the validation process in a traditional setting can take 3 to 5 weeks. That means slow trial onboarding, slow submission readiness, and then risk of non-compliance without automation. So how do we think about all those things? And that's why validation is not just a checkbox that we have to tick. It's a foundation of trust that we need to have while building a clinical trial platform. So why does validation matter? Like the question is, okay, why does validation matter? When we talk about validation, we are talking about data integrity, system reliability, audit readiness. All these things are not just, check boxes. Again, this is what ensure is the data that we are producing today or data we are analyzing today can stand up to the scrutiny in the future, be it by regulators, auditors, or simply a data scientist who's trying to reproduce the results. Right? So when we talk about features like versioning, traceability, lineage tracking, all those features are not just technical add-ons. This is what this gives us, the regulators and the auditors, the trust that the system we are building is safe and compliant and able to live in the boundary of the compliance. So now we have seen how validated systems should work with the system readiness, the audit trails, and all those things. But when we operate in a life sciences, regulated industry like life sciences, it especially works under the broader umbrella of a compliance called GXP, which can be in terms GCP, GLP, GMP, name it, right? That's what ensures the product safety, patient safe, the data that we are using in terms of like patient data is safe and in the secured environment. Under GXP, 21 CFR Part 11 compliance has always been a cornerstone of how we manage the electronic records and electronic signatures. Again, it's not just a checkbox. It is a mandate required by FDA to be a 21 CFR Part 11 compliant application, especially when you are touching clinical trial data and clinical research data, right? So how do we, and when we think about all these validation, the traditional way of doing this validation have not kept pace with the way the technology has been moving. With the fast-paced technology and the complex and the scalable cloud-native environments, the validation is still slow. It requires, constant back and forth, coordination with multiple teams, human interaction, and all those steps are like manual, which slow down the process, which slow down their entire clinical trial onboarding. And that's why Databricks and Pergo have come together to build a solution that would automate that entire process, not only accelerating by days or weeks, it can be done in a minute. So when we are working with platform like Databricks, which is cloud native and changing, with the change in technology, within minutes you can ensure that if something has been broken or if something has been impacting, the new feature release has impacted your entire process or data, that can be validated within minutes.
So Pergo AI becomes a gateway between the preclinical exploratory kind of stages of R&D, clinical R&D, and across the gateway is the clinical stages where these types of, especially the CFR Part 11 and other compliance requirements become very stringent. And the way we see it is Pergo AI joint solution becoming a digital backbone for all your platform validation requirements, starting with the CFR Part 11. So what Pergo needs is a very high level, like a natural language based document that describes for your clinical research group what is the standard operating procedure, what is the data validation protocol that you would like to enforce. Built into the joint solution, pre-built in the joint solution, we have a version of the installation qualification and operational qualification validation built in as a SOP document within the solution. This is a very simple document. When you install Pergo, we'll show that in a demo in a moment. You could even edit this document and add or modify requirements based on what your research group is complying with. So Pergo brings the ability to interpret each and every word in your standard operating procedure and associate the intent and the standard operating procedure itself with the underlying data fields, which is obviously visible through the Unity catalog in your broader Databricks Delta Lake. This allows Pergo to use this association and convert your high-level natural language-based standard operating procedure, convert that to a highly granular, very specific technical specification. How do these high-level legal or compliance requirements, how do they translate, how do they become relevant in your specific set of data fields, specific set of clinical protocols, your data pipelines that are processing the clinical data. Internally, Pergo uses a standard called Gherkin. Those of you who are familiar with clinical data protocols, you must have used Gherkin sometime in the past. So within the product, Pergo translates your natural language clinical validation, platform validation requirements to a Gherkin standard. And Pergo further uses this technical specification to actually generate the script, the source code of the validation script. And this script is then executed across your Databricks instance, all the way from the high-level pipeline code to the Unity catalog to the underlying Databricks instance, all the way down to the cloud service platform in which the Databricks instance is running. This whole execution, as I mentioned earlier, literally takes fewer minutes than I have taken to describe what the product does. And we'll show that in a quick demonstration in a moment. So it not only executes the validation script in your platform, but also creates a very granular, highly detailed kind of a report, an audit report that can be used for internal reporting, external reporting, file it with your audit colleagues, and so on and so forth. So this entire process, which typically used to take 3 to 5 weeks of manual effort, every time there is a change in the Databricks instance or there's a change in the nature of the source of data, that whole 3 to 5 weeks manual effort is now accelerated to a literal 3 to 5 minutes. Therefore, a 2 orders of magnitude acceleration in the effort, time, and complexity of IQ, OQ, installation, and operational qualification of your clinical data platform. So we'll show here a quick demonstration. So this demonstration runs literally in 2 minutes, but I just want to belabor the fact that in those 2 minutes, you'll kind of see an entire, that workflow I was describing earlier, kind of unfold itself from a high-level English language SOP, IQ/OQ, platform validation SOP, all the way down to running it in a data platform. This is particularly relevant for allowing new upgrades of your Databricks instance to be instantly validated from an operational qualification standpoint. This allows you to utilize new features, especially related to machine learning or multi-omics and the other kind of innovation items that Neha was describing earlier. Because of the fact that as and when the Databricks instance upgrades, you can immediately validate your platform and your clinical data protocols running on top of that. So this is a quick run through of how the product works. So installing Pergo in your Databricks instance literally takes seconds. All you have to do is connect Pergo to the Databricks instance, the Unity catalog, to the source code repository, whether it's GitHub or GitLab that you're using, so all the scripts generated are stored there, and also to the underlying cloud service platform, whether it's Azure or Amazon or any other platform you're using. As you can see, as soon as you connect Pergo, it leaps into action. It uses the pre-built SOP, the text document that describes the IQ/OQ, converts that to the validation code, and starts executing the validation code. You can see different tests. There are a few dozen tests covering both installation qualification and operational qualification. They all run in parallel, and that's how we are able to squeeze all this in a narrow window of 10 to 15 minutes. And you can see as the test results come back, they pop the results as pass or fail. You can always drill down, double click, compare the result that the platform gave back to Pergo with what Pergo was expecting. Especially when there is a failure, there's a lot of explainable notes on why Pergo deemed that particular test as a failure. You can further drill down and see what was the real API response that the platform gave, Databricks platform gave. The other thing is you can schedule this in whatever frequency that fits your clinical data kind of end-to-end workflow. It could be weekly, it could be daily, it could be hourly. Given the fact that how quickly it runs, you can make it as frequently as you want, the whole validation. Pergo obviously stores all the past validation, platform validation results. So you can have a time travel, kind of go back and forth and see how the platform performed. Obviously, reporting is a key part of compliance. So you can download every validation, platform validation as a PDF file. And if you further drill down the PDF file. This is very familiar to you. This is what your manual validation teams would have been doing. This is now digitally generated. It not only has high-level pass-fail outcomes of individual IQ/OQ tests, it also has comments and explanations. It also stores all the queries that were generated by Pergo in implementing the SOP and the API results that it got. So it's very self-contained and ready for submitting to any kind of internal audit or external scrutiny. We also integrate this with your overall quality management systems. IQ/OQ and platform validation is one part of end-to-end clinical data validation. So we'd be happy to work with your QMS vendor and your QMS product to integrate with that. We also integrate this with your electronic signature system, whether it's DocuSign or any other electronic signature system you use in your enterprise, so that when the quality controller sees the Pergo generated report, he or she can validate that and digitally sign that for submission to compliance and audit. So just to describe the impact of this acceleration to your overall process, we'll have Neha walk us through some of the actual results in terms of productivity and acceleration we have seen in customers.
Yeah, so this slide tells a compelling story, some of which you have first-hand experience in when you validate the clinical applications, right? When you're working with traditional SaaS software that touch the clinical data, usually the IQ/OQ setup takes 1 to 2 weeks, the installation process, and then going through the every installation qualification criteria. After that, usually when these softwares upgrades 6 months, 1 year, like the period, whatever the frequency the upgrades comes or the new release version comes, you have to again go through the operational testing and review of those to make sure that the release is compatible with the past features and nothing is breaking. So that process takes usually 2 to 3 weeks. In total 3 to 5 weeks every time, when the initial setup, and then every time 2 to 3 weeks additionally when you go through upgrade. And when we think about this is just the validation, but it also encompasses the human error part, the coordination with different teams, and then constant back and forth that you have to account for. So added more time into it. With that, the manual time takes 3 to 5 weeks or probably more than that. With the automated way, the IQ/OQ runs not within a day, but it literally run within a minute to make sure that you are compliant and the system is compliant with the requirements that you are building. So the way we produce the electronic PDF output shows that even the systems, the cloud native system, the modern systems can be as trustworthy as the paper-based documentation that we used to create, and providing that electronic record and electronic signature to the auditors, to the regulators, to ensure that we have whatever we are doing, the analysis plus submission, it's ready, and we are always making the system submission ready.
I'll take a minute and just walk you through the underlying architecture of Pergo so it gives you a sense of how Pergo interacts with your Databricks instance. As I described earlier, Pergo is a very general purpose business plus data inferencing engine. It is designed for accepting within your enterprise very high level business or operational requirements and translating the natural language words that your business analysts or clinical associates use, translating them in the context of your enterprise's own Databricks instance and Unity catalog. So the reason why Pergo is able to do that is because of the secret sauce underlying in the core Pergo product, which is this graph AI transformer that Pergo builds from your Unity catalog and the pipeline code that connects all your Delta Lake data fields. So this AI transformer is an organization of all the logic, all the business and operational logic that sits on your Databricks instance, all the data fields that are stored in your Unity catalog, and all the business documents, Jira tickets, AWS or Azure DevOps tickets, all the business associate, clinical associate, business language. All these three different sources of data are conjoined into a graph representation and further encoded into Pergo AI's language agent. So this brings a very unprecedented power, semantic power, that we create for you within your enterprise. It's not like you're exposing your data to any outside service or an external platform, because the entire transformer sits inside, nested inside your Databricks instance. Pergo does not store any customer data. All data that Pergo processes, all data that Pergo generates, source code that it generates, and requirements it processes, all happen within the confines of your Databricks instance. And therefore, it gives you complete data sovereignty and data confidentiality. Pergo, as we saw in the demonstration, not only analyzes and designs technical specifications for high-level operational requirements, but it also has the capability of testing every line of code, every line of execution that Pergo generates within the Databricks instance. This is possible because of what I mentioned earlier, the fact that within Pergo, it uses the Gherkin standard for generating technical specifications. Fortunately, Gherkin standard is also used for generating test cases. So even before the validation script runs, Pergo has tested the validation script, proven the assertions that the validation script can really comply with the, for example, 21 CFR Part 11 requirements in IQOQ. So this inbuilt quality assurance gives a very high level of predictability and reliability that Pergo delivers to the customers. The end result is what we call a data product. It's a complete set of business aggregates, data pipeline code, and validated QA results that can satisfy the requirements of a said high-level business requirement or operational requirement, like, for example, the 21 CFR Part 11 IQOQ requirements. Pergo typically presents this production-ready version of the pipeline and data product to the data engineering team for them to inspect and merge that to the production Databricks instance. So you can imagine now moving from preclinical data exploration and preclinical R&D studies, moving on to more rigorous clinical R&D studies on top of Databricks platform. While you're doing that, you can see Pergo plus Databricks becoming a new quality assurance, a new data reliability engine and a service that is mirroring the clinical protocols you're onboarding on top of the Databricks instance. And given the breadth of compliance that we are building into the product, we believe this validation digital backbone will enable Databricks Life Sciences customers to be able to use the power of Databricks and all the features that are already there and coming up in the coming months and years for their clinical research as well. This is a snapshot of one of our life sciences customers and their own internal report of the transformation Pergo brought into their operations. So you can see in the first two rows, there's clearly a 2 orders of magnitude acceleration in both the reduction of manual effort, like validation today is a manual effort, that's an example of that, but also reduction in time to production, time to market. So you can see literally things that need days or weeks literally become minutes, like we saw in the demonstration. There are also other kind of software benefits in using Pergo. For example, because of the inbuilt quality assurance engine and this technical design specification, design-driven way of execution, there is obviously a significant improvement in consistency and code quality, which is generally the case in adoption of generative AI, but doing that at a business requirement level is what is unique with Pergo. As you saw, any new changes in the requirement, any new kind of business outcomes that have to be brought in can all be pulled in through Pergo into the Databricks instance within minutes. So this is a significant boost to the maintainability of the pipelines, whether it's clinical or commercial or supply chain related pipelines on the Databricks instance. And obviously, because this is all done using a tightly defined set of validations and regulations, the level of error and the potential for error significantly comes down. Again, we measure all this very diligently with all our existing users and customers. And as we create new use cases and features for usage of Pergo. We all monitor this kind of tight balance between predictability and error kind of mitigation alongside with innovation and speed and agility. So you can see at the bottom the summary results that our customers report, consistently showing at least a 90% reduction in time and manual effort it takes to bring new use cases online on Databricks. So we are here. We are very excited about the joint solution for the health and life sciences vertical. Both Neha and I will be here even after this session through this week. We really look forward to having this conversation with all of you and enabling you to use the power and innovation of Databricks as a platform for your clinical protocols. Thank you so much.